Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today we're going to do a Divine Feminine check-in. This is day 2 of the full moon in Aries portal. Lots of density, lots of intensity. I would say that we are either feeling a lot of fiery rage and big energies, or we're on the receiving end of that. In terms of my own experience, I haven't felt the rage. I've been around other people moving through that, but for me, I can feel my version of rage is being fed up with things, like wanting things to change and identifying different things that need to change. I described it to a friend this morning as I feel the ground beneath me is moving. And so it's not a time of chasing and fixing and trying to solve whatever problems we think we have. This is a time to take your hands off the wheel. I think I said this yesterday in the full moon reading. Yeah, this is a time to really surrender and take care of our bodies. I, this morning, thought I was doing a lovely thing, and I woke up and wanted to get some sunlight in my eyes within the first 90 minutes of my waking up. And so I went outside to journal, and I ended up tweaking my back. And I was doing nothing. I literally sat down, and then when I got back up, I kind of was stuck in a different position. I've straightened up since, if you're curious, but I found that interesting that happened. Our backs are are structural, it affects everything, right? So, so that's how I felt. I felt like the ground was moving beneath me in physically and also energetically, like something is changing. I think of in Mary Poppins, I forget what Dick Van Dyke's character says, but when he says, like winds in the east, something, it's like he felt the change a-coming, it was that sort of energy. That's how I feel. I feel like something change is coming. So let's just surrender. Let us kneel at the altar of the mystery and learn how to come back home to ourselves, to be present with what's moving. Okay, feminines, let's see. Spirit, thank you for being with us. I always get flustered when cards come out before I talk to Spirit, and it just throws me for a little bit of a loop. So thank you, Spirit. We have listening, we have time, and we have stretch. Yeah. In the unconscious position, we have heat, also known as fire, right? Makes sense. I'm just going to leave that. I'll just leave it here. All right, feminines. Let's drop in. Oh, I don't know if you heard that on camera, but a little cop car. Interesting. So let's perk up. Let's pay attention, because this might be an emergency here. Okay. It's really important, feminines, for you to tune into your surroundings and ground in self. When we can remain incredibly rooted in the seat of the soul, our core center, so that we can stay open, aware, and awake and curious to what is moving around us. And yes, this absolutely could mean actually being able to hear things in our environment and perceive things in our environment. But this, I would say, it's probably like a 75-25 split, where 75% of what you're listening for is what is moving energetically in you and what is moving energetically outside of you. Being able to receive the synchronicities that the quantum field is gifting to you, towards you, You know, when we don't have our spiritual ears on, it's really easy to keep our heads down, do our jobs, take care of daily tasks, and just get through the day. And when we rush over all of the potential depths of our environment, we end up missing an infinite amount of opportunities to receive a moment of quality. James Finley once said that we're all suffering from depth deprivation. And I really love this. It has sincerely stuck with me. You know, the soul craves depth. The soul craves to be known and celebrated and to join in community and to dance around a fire and to dance under the full moon. The soul is limitless, has no boundaries, and is yearning to express itself. It's like unavoidable. And so, feminines, I guess the question here is, where are you hindering that natural impulse? I didn't even put it together. I kind of was ignoring this card because it's not. Do you remember was it Sesame Street when they sing the song, "One of these things is not like the other"? That's what's coming to mind right here. These two cards feel very much of the same, cut from the same cloth. And this card, look how insane it is. I mean, it's beautiful. And what's really fascinating that I've never put together, first of all, doesn't the woman look like Tina Fey a little bit? Maybe I'm just seeing things. What's really interesting that I've never seen in this card, do you see all this kind of like netting? It's a stretch card. And for those of you that know what fascia is and what fascia looks like, it looks exactly like this. Fascia is the sort of, I don't even know what it's made out of, tissue, muscle. It's usually a part either on the muscle. I can't speak intelligently about it, but you can go look up what exactly fascia is. But fascia is all over our body, and our fascia holds, muscle memory of our whole biography. It carries within it, our limitations, our stories, our desires, our fears, our boundaries, our crossed boundaries. It carries all of the joy and all of the pain. It carries everything in it. And for us to stretch, sometimes, we have to break the fascia. We have to break it up when there's these kind of bundles of it. I don't know if you've ever seen anyone, or I know chiropractor videos on YouTube have gotten really popular, but they use these very hard tools to break up people's, whether it's a muscle knot or fascia or lesions in the muscles and skin. It's really aggressive when you watch people doing it, but it just goes to show you how much force it actually takes to break up these networks that have taken probably years or a lifetime to get like that. And so, to break it up in one session, that's pretty incredible that it's even possible, but also makes you realize just how much force and intensity. So there's something here, feminines, about you're being called to stretch yourself in a way that brings you to the edge of something, the edge of awareness, the edge of your comfort zone, the edge of your fear. There's something here that you are being called to take the time to expand your awareness, to expand your consciousness, meaning what you are conscious of, what you get to be conscious of, what you get to hold in your psyche and physical, mental, emotional experience. You're being called to dial up your listening. When it's the example they're giving me is when someone turns out the light and you're in darkness and it looks totally pitch black, but after maybe a minute or so, your eyes start to adjust and actually you realize, oh wait, it's not pitch black. There's some shapes emerging. You could kind of see the outline from the street light that's shining through the blinds. Like there's a couch there. Okay, there's a plant that looks like a person, but it's just a plant. Like your eyes really start to work in a way you probably never thought they could. And so, feminines, I gave you that example to honor that this is the same way our hearing sense works. That just when you think you can't tune into more, when you really shut down some of the other senses, just, momentarily shut down, let's not do anything, drastic, but when you temporarily, like, say you close your eyes, what's coming through. I always think it's hilarious. There's that meme going around where when you're driving somewhere new and you're looking for a street sign and people turn down the radio. That seems hilarious, and I get why it's funny, but it also is true. And what that does, you're quite literally dimming down the noise, the sensory noise, so that you can so that one of your other senses can work better, can work more efficiently. So that's actually a perfect example. So you can actually turn down different senses so that you could turn up other ones. I once took a internal family systems training, and my teacher did a meditation, and one of my favorite things that he said, part of the meditation, he prompted us to attempt to listen to the sound that is the furthest away. And it was such a wild journey to go on because, you hear like the closest sound. Maybe it's a car going by, and then you kind of, okay, let me challenge myself. Let me stretch myself. And then, okay, maybe there's a bird. Okay, great. There's a bird. Okay, now I'm hearing the wind through that tree over there. Okay, it's making an interesting noise, not a regular noise. Oh, okay, there's a branch hitting the trunk, a fallen branch. Okay. And it's like colors coming alive, but it's sounds. It's a very interesting process. So I recommend you experiment. I mean, you could do it in your home. The home is interesting because I think we don't realize how much humming and buzzing that our electronics make. And so it's a little annoying. So I recommend doing this outside, maybe sitting in the sun on a park bench or wherever, even just standing in your driveway. Yeah, and then just when you think you can't stretch anymore, you hear something, you hear an animal or you hear a car in the far off distance, or a train or a church bell, or wherever you live, an animal. It's really wild. And so, feminines, you are being the other thing I want to say as a disclaimer, or I want to remind us, feminines, that we are operating under the umbrella of energetic and spiritual awareness. Now, I'm not saying like that this is only listening energetically. No, you might be listening in your physical environment around you. You might hear a coworker say something who's really far away. You might hear them say just one word. That's all you can make out. And sit with it. Sit with what you're receiving and understand that the quantum field is communicating with us 24/7. And it's up to us to discern what these messages, it's up to us to discern what messages are valuable and what is just noise. And if we just dismiss everything as noise, we will miss out on where we're being called and guided to. Remember, the quantum field, there is no other, right? We are one. I believe in oneness. That is a law of one. So you have to honor that, okay, if we're all one thing, then everything around me is a version of myself speaking to me. And if everything is one, then the creator is not other than me. So the creator can easily communicate with me through my environment around me. So you might hear that coworker who's in the back room who you just might make out one word. Sit with that word. Ask yourself, does that mean anything to me? And let your mind travel. Let yourself make free associations. Maybe even jot down some bullet points of what words come to mind, and let your mind follow your mind's path like you're following a river. Maybe they said, red coffee cup. And then you're like, okay, red jacket, cold weather, winter, Christmas 2009. Okay, what happened Christmas to I have no clue how that will look for you, but that's just a really very light example of a kind of a stream of consciousness when you let yourself just kind of get tossed in the waves of the mind, and really surrender to it. Okay, beautiful feminines. I like that this is a technical support. Like, this is actually something we can physically do. Our readings lately have not been that. It's been a lot of internal, mental, psychological work. And I think we're tired. I think everyone's really tired, especially with this full moon. Deep breaths, everyone. Okay, Spirit, where should we go next? Where should we go? Okay, thank you. I haven't used this deck in a while. Bear with me. We're taking it nice and slow today. I often realize that some of my slowest readings are some of my best readings, and I tend to rush because, I value your time as much as my own, and my time as much as yours, and all, and want to get it out. It's already a slow process to shuffle and to be present with the messages, but I just noticed when I talk to you guys like you're sitting in my living room, I just find that the messages are better, more clear. Okay, beautiful. We have Stand Your Ground. It's a 7 card. If you get a message that brings about a certain awakening and a certain awareness, more specifically, if you, in this beautiful micro listening exercise, if you discover your own authentic truth, hold on to it. Stand your ground, plant your flag in the sand, and hold it. Thank you, Spirit. That makes a lot of sense that this might be coming up. Yeah, we have positive movement forward. This might be in an 8 card sequential order. I'm losing my train of thought. Hold, bear with me. This makes perfect sense for this full moon energy, right? It's fiery energy. It's a lot of intensity rising up. A lot of feminine rage has been repressed and suppressed for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so because of that, oftentimes feminine rage has been socially intimidated to be silent rage, or to be, angry with a smile, or to sort of dilute that rage to a more digestible dose. Well, cat's out of the bag. It's time to unleash the Kraken in a really healthy, aligned way. I'm not saying to, vomit all of your pain onto the world around you and your loved ones. I'm saying it's up to you to step into your sovereignty and create a very safe, intentional environment for you to vibrate whatever is in you. Could be rage, it could be tears. A lot of rage comes out in tears because we haven't had enough practice of allowing ourselves to just be angry, to be like physically, visibly, intensely angry. For some feminine energies, it hurts to be angry because we just haven't done it. For a very long part of my early empath days, all of my rage came out as crying and tears. And there was nothing wrong with that, but I realized that so much of the fact that I would go instantly from anger to tears, I felt powerless to actually say the words. I felt powerless. I felt like no one was going to listen to me. I felt like even if I was, screaming from the rooftops, I was being ignored, and I felt very little agency over my own voice. And so if that's you, this is a time for you to carve out safe space to fine tune that anger, to allow yourself to practice being angry. And I'm not saying don't go looking for anger. This is just natural rage that may or may not rise. And it could be about a big serious thing. It could be about a really dumb thing. It could be like you're at the restaurant and you asked for ketchup 20 times and 20 times this person has still not brought it to you or something. Or it could be really big, like you've been in a 20-year marriage and you have said the same thing for 20 years and this full moon you've had it. You're done. And it might, give yourself grace to follow that anger through so that it can reveal a deeper truth. What I think is really powerful, if you are in like an overwhelmingly, insanely rage, like activated trigger moment, I think immediately it's important to take care of your body, to like help your nervous system regulate, because really scary, unsafe things can happen when we are triggered. I mean, I've been in moments in my life where I've actually dissociated, where you're not present. You're not like, almost like you black out to what's happening. And that's really, really scary. That hasn't happened in years, but I just remember that fear where like, you don't feel like you're in control of the environment around you, or you can't show up to be in control in the environment around you. And that could be really scary. So if you're in an activation, there's a ton of somatic exercises you can do to calm the nervous system. You can like punch the air. You can, one of my favorites actually is to lean into a wall, like face the wall head first and put your palms like out in front of you, kind of like that, and push into the wall. There's something about the force, like using all your body to push into the wall. It uses all of that intense energy. It sort of dissipates, dispels it a little bit out of the body. You can do a silent hand scream it's not silent. You could do a hand scream into the palm of your hands, but you cover your mouth. So like, it's like, kind of like that. We all don't live in places where we can actually do a nice, big, bold, guttural yell. There's a million of these. You could rage dance. I like that one too. Put on some like, I don't know, throw on some like heavy metal or some crazy music. Sorry, I don't want to say that heavy metal's crazy. But I'm saying like stimulating, intense music that would help you kind of get it out of your body. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's coming up about that. Yeah, if you're in that much of an active trigger, it's not a time to try to solve it. It's only a time to take care of yourself, feminines, to just let yourself move through the energy. Another favorite one of mine is to lay on the bed and sort of starfish yourself out and let your body tremor, like vibrate and shake. That's a really wonderful, kind of safe and cozy way to like dispel the density out of the body. If you're angry but not like triggered, I think it's really incredible to write down your angry thoughts, and you can even write them in an angry way. You could, hold the pen like this and just scribble. That's another thing. You could just scribble, just take a marker and just go like that on a piece of paper. If you want to dim down the intensity, you can scribble together with two hands. That is like a bilateral motion, and it helps kind of distract / calm the brain. And it feels fun. You feel like a little kid just like scribbling with crayons or something. That's another thing you could do. Okay, I think you have enough. So we have stand your ground and positive movement forward. I look at anger like a little egg. Anger is a little egg. And when you crack that egg, there's a whole lot of truth in it. And so, feminines, I think it's really important to look at that. That anger is not a big, bad, scary thing. Anger is a vessel. Anger, I'm looking at the sailboat here. Anger is a can be a transportation device that gets you from one place to another. Anger, again, once you crack the anger, you can excavate a deeper truth in there, whatever that is for you. And when you excavate this most authentic, resonant truth for yourself, you are being called to stand your ground and create boundaries around whatever this truth is to reclaim something for yourself. I don't know what this is for you. I'm reading for, the collective, but this could be reclaiming physical space. It could be reclaiming, what you're worth at work, maybe asking for a raise, or honoring that this environment will never see your worth and making a new choice to apply to a different job. It could be a million different things. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you stand your ground, because it's going to lead to positive movement forward. But if you just let this anger slide or sweep this anger under the rug again, you're going to it's going to keep you stuck in some capacity. It's going to keep you stagnant in your life, in your soul mission, on your journey. Now, stuck could look, again, like a million different things. It could look like you stay in the same crappy relationship, same crappy job, having friends that are jealous of you, keeping these friends around. What's the definition of insanity? It's like doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. There's something about that here, to just allow the anger, allow the heat to rise, right? I'm sorry, I didn't even talk about this. So this is the unconscious position, meaning the shadow position, meaning this is what we're shoving into the shadows. We're literally shoving our anger into the shadow. What did I say about anger? It's an egg that holds our truth. We're shoving our truth into the shadows. And when we ignore it enough, it starts to chip away at our, Carolyn Mace under Energy Anatomy, when we don't, step into our alignment, when we don't choose to heal, it first affects our creativity and inspiration. Secondly, it affects our relationship. That energy starts to affect who we are in our relationships and how people treat us. And then lastly, which is the end of the road, end of the line, it starts to affect us on a physical level, on a cellular level. So if you've seen people who have, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say a version of it. Let me think. Hold on. Let me just say it generally. When we repress or suppress our emotions, when we do not let them out of our body, all of that, it's like swallowing a bomb. That bomb is going to go off whether you express it or not. So it's either going to go off out in the world where there's space for it, or it's going to go off inside of you. And it's going to affect change in your body negatively. So you're being called to take radical accountability and allow this heat to rise. Allow it to rise enough to, leave your body, leave your heart, leave your mind. Here's the thing. Okay, thank you, Spirit. Here's another narrative. We're human. So if you unleash the Kraken on some unsuspecting person, it happens. I mean, I don't want anyone to harm anyone, but we are all at different levels of consciousness. Everyone in the world is operating and vibrating at a different level of consciousness. And I've had friends unfairly unleash on me. And if I love them and think it's something we can move through together, and I want them in my life and they want me in their lives, we can intentionally, consciously move through it. I've been doing this long enough where I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't about me at all. Okay, cool. How can I help my friend move through this? And then I've had other situations where someone is so committed to rage and anger that they're committed to seeing me and seeing them or the situation in one way. And there's no talking to them. They've made up their minds, and then we choose to part ways as friends. And that's totally fine. We have to remember that people come and go, and we come and go out of people's lives for a whole myriad of reasons. Maybe we signed a soul contract and I said, okay, you're going to piss me off on October 7th at 2:00. And they said, I love you so much. You know what? I will do that for you so that you can learn that lesson and your human can have that experience. Who knows? We'll never know why these things happen, and, for sure. But the point is, can we return to love, anchor in love, and just surrender what wants to move, right? Can we not reach to hold on to things that really want to leave our lives? People, places, things, all of it. Is there anything else about that, Spirit? Thank you. I think one of the hardest things is when you really love someone and you can visibly see that they're suffering because of their pain, and they're also not ready to move through it or take accountability, and you see them going into a whole nother cycle. I had a friend that was very, like, she took it as a point of pride that she was really good at cutting people out of her life. And I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting thing to be really proud of. I don't know about that. And I remember finally, like, after being friends with her for years, I sort of realized that it was a safety mechanism. If I just shut down and cut people out of my life, then I don't have to go through the hard, difficult work of standing in my vulnerability and standing in confrontation and having a difficult conversation. I could feel empowered and just walk away. And there are times and places for that. But if we find ourselves repeating this pattern over and over and over again, more times than not, it's often saying something about us and it's more about us than the friend or than the boss or coworker or something. It's the same thing if you keep leaving a job after 6 months, okay, is it every single environment, or is it how you're perceiving the environments around you? And remember, perception is really unreliable. Our perceptions are colored by our experiences, our pain, our trauma, our joy, our biases, our upbringing. They're illusions, essentially. And the only way to come to a sort of middle ground to find, okay, maybe we'll never know the 100% truth, but maybe we can get to 95% truth. And the only way to get there is daring to be vulnerable and communicating with the other person and showing up in love, maybe not showing up in pointing a finger in judgment, but really saying, I want to continue a relationship with you, but I'm feeling this and it hurts to feel this way. It hurts to be in this way. So maybe we can come up with another way to approach these things when they happen, right? And then, some people, it's a gift. Let me say that disclaimer as well. If someone unleashes the Kraken on you and they cut you out of your life, it might be the biggest gift for you at all, forever. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Messages are, images are coming in and my throat's closing up. Hold on. Holy moly, I could barely swallow. Yeah, I just looked in the unconscious position. We have movement, choices, and decisions. It's a root chakra card. Okay, thank you, Spirit. So I'm reminding myself that this is in the unconscious position. Some of you have been pushing your free will and sovereignty into the shadows, meaning you have to make choices about these really big life things and you've been putting it off. I don't know if you could see, but we have money here. There's coins falling. There's 2 wedding rings, I'm assuming, in a heart, and there's a what looks like a rosebud and thorn in the heart the heart chakra, green pillars. I don't know what to call this. Wow, I've never gone that deep on this card before. Thorns in the heart chakra is a really big deal. Thank you, Spirit. Some of you are holding on to something that is harming you. And you have to make it's like push is coming to shove, and you have to make the choice to let go. Some of you are in a relationship that is somehow affecting money, or money is a factor. And in a perfect world, money wouldn't be a factor, and we would all be empowered and independent and have freedom to make choices, but that's not everybody's situation. So I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm never here to tell you what to do. I get really actually frustrated. I'm lying. I'm dimming it. I get really pissed off when readers tell people what to do. I think it's unethical. That's my 2 cents. Let me say this. The longer you choose not to look at this and not make a decision, the worse it's going to get. You know, I'm very drawn to the thorns. Like, you're going to get all cut up and bloody from holding on too tight, feminine. So, yeah, it's time for a game plan. It's time for choices. It's time for movement. Okay. Is there anything else, Spirit, you want to share? Thank you. Okay, yeah, hope. There is hope. There is a solution to whatever situation you find yourself in. So, I mean, we have hope. We have positive movement forward. Stand your ground. Let's say this too. Standing your ground could also mean standing your ground with yourself. You know, say you want to be someone that wakes up at 6 a.m. and goes to the gym every morning. I'm using that because that's mine. I want to be that person. And yet, like, I stay up so late. It's so hard for me. I often find that people who live between worlds, like, sleep time isn't a thing. Like, we're up at all hours, you know, messages come at weird times, and we're sort of just in service. You can, by the way, if this does resonate with you, if you're one of these mystical people who like is open to this part of other realms and things, you can actually ask your guides, angels, ancestors, God, whoever you work with. You could say, you know, I really love our time together, but I'm struggling with my sleep. Can you bring me messages during these hours? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but you have to remember, like, we are one. So whatever these entities, and I'm assuming these are positive entities, I always put a disclaimer on this stuff. It's like, just like there's negative, shitty, evil people in the world, there's negative, shitty, evil energies and spirits and entities in the world. So surround yourself with a golden bubble of protection. You can use a blue bubble, Archangel Michael or Archangel Raphael, green. Michael's protection, Raphael is healing. Set a disclaimer on your bedroom saying only energies of the highest and best good are allowed to enter here. All other energies of ill will or malevolence are not welcome, and, leave, whatever. So I'm not... The people that know. If this doesn't apply to you, ignore it completely. It's, whatever. Why was I saying this? My brain just... Let's move on. Oh, I was talking about, you can actually be more intentional with the spirit realm. They're always, like, it's a living, breathing thing. It's just like if your friend was sitting on your couch and you're talking to them saying, hey, can you not come over when I'm trying to sleep? Cool. Or when I'm in the middle of dinner? Great. Like, you can actually set some parameters around your relationship with the quantum field. Okay, Spirit, anything else? Thank you. We have light. Beautiful. There's so much love. This reduces to a 10, which is endings and beginnings. I'm just going to keep going and see what comes. God, feminines, there's such good cards coming out. We have victory and success, but we also have mental conflict in reverse. The more you hem and haw, the longer you delay making a decision, the more mental conflict and ruminating you do, the more it's going to get in the way of your victory and success, whatever that means for you. So it's time. It's time to make the decisions. Okay, we have, look what we have. Look what we have. Choosing wisely and the waiting game. I'm going to give you advice two ways. Let me just put this here. So for some of you, you will have circumstances where time is not an issue. For those of you, for that community that I'm speaking to, do not take action until you feel an embodied hell yes move through your body. Do not jump off the cliff until you know exactly what you're jumping towards and what you're desiring, okay? For some of you. For others of you who are stuck in analysis paralysis, it would behoove you to do the best you can to make a decision, choose wisely, but you need to make a decision because nothing will happen if nothing happens. So you just need to bite the bullet and make a decision, and understand that even if you make a decision and you find out afterwards that it wasn't the right one, that too is gifting you with awareness and experience. It will help you fine-tune your intuition and discernment skills. For this population, I mean, I guess I could say this for all feminine energy. Well, this is true for everybody, not just feminine, but we're doing a feminine reading. I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. I say this almost every reading, that our ability to access our intuition is directly related to our self-esteem. The more self-esteem you have, the more you will believe the information that's moving through your precious sacred vessel. This is huge. The higher your self-esteem is, the stronger your discernment will be. The stronger you'll be able to access that intuition and make a decision that is in alignment with your spirit. It's okay if you have to make 10 wrong decisions to get to the right one. That is still gifting you with immense experience that will help you. What's the phrase people use? Failing forward. Like nothing is a failure if you learn from it. It's that. It's very much that. Okay, Spirit. Anything else? Jeez. No, I'm not taking those. Just one more, Spirit. Thank you. We got two more. We have rejoice and celebration. You have, just as a disclaimer here, the majority of these cards are incredible. Victory and success, positive movement forward, hope and light and all these wonderful things. However, oh, thank you, Spirit. I was separating these, but let me talk about them together. Thank you. We have rejoice and celebration because you are conquering your shadow feminine. And by conquering, I really just mean that you're open to letting it be in the room. You are, sorry, I'm distracted by this dog barking. It sounds like it's in this building. Anyway, sorry for the distraction. You are, what was I saying? By conquering, I don't mean beating your shadow into submission or never operating from that shadow. Conquering the shadow just means that you're integrating it. You're loving it enough to allow it a seat at the dinner table. So it's not really that you're overcoming a shadow. It's more that you're welcoming it into your family, welcoming it into your heart. So it's no longer running the show behind the scenes. It's no longer ruling your unconscious. Okay. That's a really powerful card. Getting a separate message for a very specific, like I'm talking a handful of you who are listening. You actually do have specific shadow work that you're meant to release. And when you release this, you will then, an ending will occur and a new beginning will occur. Like in baseball, I don't even know if they do this anymore. When they put their fists like this up to the bat and whoever makes it to the top gets to go, I don't know. I don't even know baseball, but whatever. You're being called, feminines, to like, your light will win over your dark. That's all I want to say about that. So like, don't be afraid to walk through the valley of shadows and darkness. How does that line go? Whatever it is, that biblical line, I don't know what it is. As I walk through the valley of the shadows of something. Anyway, wow. I'm not going to take these because it's huge, it's whatever, but you got another fulfillment of wishes. Okay. There's so much going on in my physical environment. There's trucks and dogs and everything. I think I need to stop the reading, but let's get a feminine Buddha wisdom. Spirit, last words for these beloveds. Last words. Oh, 2. Okay. We have, what does this say? The loving kindness you show to others returns as grace. Beautiful. Thank you, Spirit. Especially with shadow work. I have only a couple, like 2 or 3 friends that I could do this profoundly deep shadow work with. And when I do it for them, when I hold space and guide them back to love, it does come back as grace for myself, because practicing loving kindness with others in their difficulty helps me get the reference points for standing in that love in my own situations, and being able to access grace when I'm in pain, when I'm confronting something vulnerable or difficult. And then we have, in love, there is only love itself, no room for logic of the mind. There's this great Carl Jung quote that's like, master all the techniques, learn all the theories, but when you're sitting down with another soul, just be another soul. And I really love this because it sort of points to the fact that I don't care if you have 0 life skills at all, but if you are a loving, kind person, I'm getting emotional. That's really all you need. That's really all you need, feminines. And sometimes we have to be really discerning over when a situation needs logic and when a situation just needs love and presence. It's like a little kid. If you're a parent, or if you're with a little kid and they're really upset, is it a time to try to, rationalize and help them teach lessons? Or are they hysterically crying and they want to know they're safe and they're still loved? It's that energy. And really, we're all dealing with everyone else's inner children. So I like to look at and approach this work as we're all, walking inner children wearing Halloween costumes as adults. Because that's what it is. That's what's operating in the unconscious, are these patterns of, relating and behavior that we've picked up in our childhoods. And everyone has a different situation. And some kids are more well-adjusted than others. And some had to go through really horrible things. So if we could just show up with that level of kindness and grace, it's a really beautiful thing. Mr. Rogers is coming up. He is so touching, and he touched the lives of thousands and thousands of people. And really, his message was just kindness, inclusion, and acceptance. Sorry, I'm on the verge of tears this whole time. I've always, since I was a little kid, have been obsessed with Mr. Rogers, mainly because he taught me the message that kindness was enough. And I always thought to myself, okay, if I can't do anything, but I can be kind, then that's enough. And that's a really beautiful thing. It's not a small thing. I think Mr. Rogers gets, people roll their eyes at him, but really what he was able to accomplish, he single-handedly saved public radio. I don't know if you've ever watched any of there's a few documentaries, but the one where they show his speech when he was in front of Congress when they wanted to get rid of funding for PBS, It's absolutely unbelievable. It's so touching and it like makes me hysterically cry. It's so beautiful. Highly recommend it. Okay, let me stop blabbing. Sending you all so much love, feminines. You got this. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to take up sacred space with your anger and rage. Find a healthy way to get it out of your body. Don't keep it inside, but let's also try not to harm others with our anger. Let us vibrate it before we bring it to wherever we need to bring it, right? Because when we vibrate that anger, it'll help us excavate our truth. And then it's the truth that we get to bring to our partners, our friendships, our family members, our coworkers, our boss, whatever it is, okay? All right, sending you all so much love. This is a long reading. Jeez, I will see you in the next one.